I was saying, as a sort of lesser player, you're thinking about where you're shooting from in these situations. So a lot of people will take the shot from the top of the court because that's considered more defensive, and this shot's more aggressive. Obviously, in a World Championship final against somebody so good, you tend to take the shorter shot.
Well, you take the shorter shot because you have a greater chance of hitting it, and you know that your opponent is totally capable of doing an on-time triple, and a delayed triple. So
yeah, exactly.
It's just you take the shot that you have a greater chance of hitting.
Yeah, so that's why Reg would be laying a flatter diagonal, because then that sort of discourages the shorter shot or lengthens it. Having said that, having seen the sort of whole panned out camera, I think it's actually an exact diagonal, so I don't think it's
I think so too.
Yeah. So.
And I'm not sure what Matthew's percentage hit on these is, but I have a feeling it's very high, in that I'm not sure if he's actually missed any of these short shots.
Yeah. Have we had any comments at all? Can we pull up the comments? If it's possible to do that, I think we just need to pull it up here. Let's watch this shot. Wow, we're up to 437 viewers. That's excellent. Oh, no,
there we go.
Through the middle. Right, let's have a look at some of these comments. So let's go back about 20 minutes, which is about when I joined. Anything interesting here?
No real questions. Let's put it to the audience then. Any questions about what's going on here? How about that?
Yeah. Have you got any particular questions about what's happening? Have you got anything here? Just general chit chat. It's good to see everyone's having a really good time, and it's great to see over 450 people now here.
Damon Bidencope. Now there's a name from the past. Didn't he used to play croquet? Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Have you heard of him?
Yeah. Wow, 456 viewers here. Damon says, commentator's curse. So Simon, it's your fault. Just by saying,
hello, Damon.
Matthew doesn't miss these short shots.
Just like to tell you, Damon, that the tournament director and the tournament referee accepted your wonderful, kind of grateful request to say hello, or whatever.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Boo. Okay. Shame on you, Simon. Wow. Okay. So clearly Simon knows a few of the viewers out here. Give us a shout out if you're viewing from somewhere that's not England, America, Australia, or New Zealand. We love to hear if you're watching this stream from another country, because we're very, very keen to see croquet being played in more places.
No, don't worry. As far as Matthew listening to me, he has already made it clear that he has absolutely no intention of listening to one word of advice that I may or may not have, given the fact that my advice could be construed as not advice.
Right. So Reg is starting his second break after Matthew missed that short shot. He's sending the blackboard hoop 2, going to the red, which is by the peg, and he's hoping to cannon the red towards the hoop that he's for, which is hoop 1, and then make lots of hoops from there.
Now Reg has struggled at hoop 1. The approach to hoop 1 has been very variable. So you really do want to get this ball very close.
It looks good.
And he'll be very happy with that.
No doubt. Downstairs there'll be a bit of applause.
I'm sure there's a little bit, yes. But in the last game, there's no doubt about it, hoop 1 loosened up dramatically, and it made some of the shots through hoop 1 that much easier. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's very fast, and almost every hoop shot Reg has had at hoop 1 has been an angled one. So this is one of his better opportunities, I think.
So if Reg plays as
I think it's through, but I'm not
It's
sure. It's a
through.
bit like the shot he had in the last match, where he was the ball rolls through and flipped left, which gave him a shot. And I think he's got the same here. I think he's just got it. Here's the replay. What's it going to do?
He didn't play it badly, did he? He just played it like he normally plays it. But what's going on?
But let's see if it just rolls. Yeah, it gave it a little bit of a right-hand roll, but it came back a bit.
It's not. That's just a difficult, firmly set hoop.
Well, see, Chris Barley's on now. I'm not sure if he can be considered to be Matthew's boss at the moment.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's last year he was chairman of the croquet committee at Orlando Country Club, which happened to be where I was working as well. And but I think he's retired.
Okay, right. So the referee comes along with a big rubber mallet. I suspect this could be a bit of hammering the hoops into the ground. So the regulations say that the players are entitled to request the hoops to be knocked so that the carrots are flush with the ground. Is that right?
No, the hoops have been just getting a little bit looser.
Okay.
That's all.
So, but why
Yes.
does it matter whether it's loose here? I think it's...
Now, what has been kind of characteristic of many of the referees who have been coming out here in Australia is that there is a minimum of 4 markers per ball to be marking it. So, where it normally takes 2 markers, it's I think I once had 10 markers around my 2 balls. It's been quite... it's one of the downsides of that is been quite a delay on taking the shot because there's...
So I think he's saying, I'm going to be playing my shot through this angle. Please don't put a marker there.
And please don't put your feet in the way of the line of the ball. So that's another thing. So
yeah. I mean, I think Reg plays his croquet in England despite representing South Africa. So, so I would say that he's probably not used to this number of markers on the ground.
No,
Would you say that? Yeah.
I'd say none of the non-Australians are.
Okay. So this is one of the sort of cultural things that Australia is known for.
I'm told is that as part of the referee's course, if you don't put 4 markers per ball, then you will not pass your referee's test. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. That's second hand. Actually, from Matthew, that one came from Matthew.
So is that why I've never sort of passed my referee's exam? I mean.
No, I think you have to do your referee's exam in Australia if that's what you wish to do.
I mean, I never really carry around more than 3 markers. So does that automatically exclude me from...
No. You can't put your own markers down. You have to get the referee to do this job.
No. What I meant is, if I were a referee, I wouldn't be able to do it because I only have 3 markers in my pocket, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, actually, the reason I've never passed my referee's exam is also because I've never taken one. So that also might stop me from being able to pass my exam.
Oh dear, well I'm nearly there.
Okay.
Just got to email it and then I'm done.
Okay. Shout out a couple of Canadians in Victoria, BC. Well, hello Pierre Dunn, and hello to all of the Canadians out there.
No, I think he's relating to the 2 Canadian players who are playing, or 3. There's Brian Cumming, and then there's a husband, wife, and if I had my list, I would know who
the
they
Westerways.
The Westerways, that's it.
Yeah, Peter Westerways got lucky earlier and won something in the raffle, actually.
Oh, good for
you. You were there. So there was a raffle earlier with all money going to the Bushfire Relief Fund. It's terrible what happened last month with the bushfires, and so they were selling. They were raffling a few cool things like a mallet, a new copy of the aforementioned Beyond Expert Croquet Tactics book that I mentioned earlier, and what else did they? They also had a T-shirt signed by both players, which I think could be the most valuable of the lot. I imagine if this sport really takes off and this final. If when? Oh,
Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Well, can you imagine if How much would a wealthy croquet player pay for that shirt in America?
Well, I was actually commenting on shirts just earlier because, take any other sport, each of these players will be covered in sponsorship. And what do you got? You've got Reg in his Ralph Lauren, you've got Matthew in his Pinehurst Country Club shorts, and I think he's wearing his Interlaken shirt. So, but all for nothing.
Sorry, just to interrupt.
Mm.
That doesn't look like the ball's being marked. That looks like he's checking
Oh.
for a jam.
You're right. You're looking at it
So,
stuck. Yeah.
so what's happening here, Simon? Can you explain?
Ah, we need to zoom in and maybe see if the cameras can zoom in on that.
Yeah. So I think what's happened. You have to remind me, Simon, for regulations. But
Mm.
if the ball has jammed,
Yes.
well, obviously it hasn't jammed here. But if it was to be shown that it could jam, is
yeah.
Reg entitled to a replay of the stroke?
Yes, he is.
Right.
He can if it had stuck, he can put a marker down from whence he played it, put it back, take the shot again, playing the same kind of a shot. Obviously, he doesn't want the same result, but if it was proven to be stuck, he has the option of two things: one, leave it where it was, or two, put it back.
Yeah, but in this case where it hasn't jammed, but it could have jammed.
Yeah, correct.
Is he still allowed that?
He is.
Yeah,
yes.
Right, okay. So, yeah, because I think one of those where it could be jammed but still go through, but you can just say I want that stroke again.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
But so the first thing he should have done is marked the location where he took the shot from.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then call the referee.
Yeah. Okay. So that's to enlighten all of us, all the listeners out there who may not be aware of that particular rule. So now this is where marking to a point on the wire is a bit daft because Reg is playing in that direction. I mean, how many markers do they need to put down?
Oh, I don't know. My record so far is 10.
Okay. Okay.
But going back to the, I was about to take a shot. Going back to taking the shot again, Reg tried to get a rover peel. I will just wait for this to happen first before.
Look, I told you.
Okay.
He wants it hammered down. It's hammer time.
Going back to his rover peel, he put a ball in the jaws of rover in the last game, and it stuck. So he had the option to take the shot again or leave it where it was. He decided to leave it where it was, but he could have done that peel again.
Right.
So now you'll see they're tapping one side. They're not tapping down the middle, because if you can consistently tap down the middle of these quadway hoops, then and any hoop, to be honest, you get some potential bend. So take some advice there. Don't hit the mallets in the middle.
Well, here the referee's taken away 2 markers, leaving 4 markers remaining. It sounds like an arithmetic game, doesn't it?
You can only see 4. There may be more.
No. If there are 6 markers on the ground and 2 markers are lifted out, how many markers are left?
Well done. Your maths is very good, isn't it?
I've got a degree, no doubt.
See, here's all the advertising. Look at that. I can't see Reg's shorts as what's on those. It looks like some kind of couple of flags there. But he's Ralph Lauren top, and Matthew's in his Nike hat. Turned on backwards, so he's obviously in it to win it.
So he's saying, why is he called Matthew on the court?
I don't really know. Matthew has no right to be on the court.
Don't know. I mean, say, look, is this exactly where the ball was?
Maybe he thinks that when it got hammered in, the ball moved a bit. I don't know. I'll have to go and find out. Or we can report back on that one later, because we just don't know.
Okay.
There may be someone listening to the commentary down in the ground on the ground that may pop upstairs and tell us what's going on. Maybe Matthew's going to pop up and tell us.
Don't know. Well, Matthew's not very far from us, is he? We're only upstairs.
Yep.
But I suspect Matthew is, just doing what Matthew's doing, just chilling out, getting game face on. Right, what's happening in other games?
We better change the score here too, because Reg is now for 2, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
2 of the blue ball. There we go. There we go. All that time for that. Unbelievable.
Wow. It likes to keep us waiting. So
I think in terms of the carrots not being exposed, this hoop has actually been banged down quite a bit anyway, so the carrots weren't exposed.
Yeah. I think they were sticking up very slightly in my youthful eyes.
But in this case, they could have actually caught the mallet as it's coming through, not the ball, which is...
Yeah. Right, what else is going on whilst we're waiting for Reg to do his thing? So on the far court, we've got Ed Wilson and somebody or other. doing something on the far lawn. It's exciting. Ed
wonderful.
Wilson's yesterday's semi-finalist. I think he's with one of the Kiwis, Logan, just having a bit of a knockabout. Yeah, so Ed's had a very good tournament, hasn't he?
He has indeed. So the Australians must be very happy.
Yeah. What else is happening? So the bowl final is still going on. Samir Patel playing against Chris Schilling. So Samir from England and Chris Schilling from New Zealand.
And in the plate, it's Alan against Aiken.
Yeah, so Alan Giro of England playing Aiken.
So here we go. We're setting up a
break,
yes,
no less.
Well, setting up for his TP.
Yeah. Right, what else is going on here? Hurrah! Sheesh, hurrah.
You may have noticed that Matthew plays kind of relatively quickly, and so it may well have been one of Reg's plots, plans, tricks to play even slower than he normally does, just to see what it would do to Matthew. And to me, that was kind of slightly evident in game one. But
I don't know. I mean, I don't like to think that really happens. No.
I mean, Matthew's comment, I don't care about his speed. I only care about the speed of the lawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah, I find it hard. You know, I don't know Reg super well, but he's been a fantastic champion over the years, and I don't think he does that kind of thing deliberately. He just likes to take his time, consider everything, and get himself in the right frame of mind. Because there's,
maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
But it's certainly well within the realms of acceptable speed. There's no doubt about that. I mean,
yeah. So Marcus Quest.
Timely play. There is no set rule on timely play, other than I think the rules use the word expediently.
Sorry, I was just going to read out the question, just in case some people aren't reading it, because obviously we're also broadcasting to Facebook, so some people can't necessarily read the comments. So Marcus I can't pronounce it, has said, what are the rules on timely play?
Essentially, when you're off the time, I mean, they've got all day and all day tomorrow if they wish to use it. And certainly if you watch some of the McRob matches, there are some very lengthy gaps between play. So essentially there isn't really a rule on how quickly you should play in on-time games. But it's just play expediently. And if you need to take time to think it out, then take your time to think it out.
Yeah. I mean, it is a shame if you have time games and people take a very long time. That's clearly
that's different.
Yeah,
that's a different issue.
But
yes.
We're in a World Championship final. So they can take as long as they want. There are floodlights. Everyone can go home and they can keep playing.
Yeah.
So, although I don't think the video guys will be happy if we're still here at 10 o'clock. They've been working very hard over the last 3 days, watching a sport that's totally novel to them. Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear their thoughts of croquet as a sport. Because obviously I've spoken to some of the production guys over the few days that they've been here, and they cover other things like table tennis and so on, where see there's only one ball, but it moves quite a bit faster than some of our balls. And the matches take less time. Right, so we've got
Red going down to hoop 4.
Yep.
Fairly standard triple peel, I think.
That was not a great shot, because Blue's just over-rolled. So ideally, you would have put Blue in this spot here. Shame we haven't got any kind of thing you can annotate.
I've lost track as what he's used. He's still going for red, so Red's going to go back and kind of get yellow back. He's absolutely fine.
No, but Black's not. He hasn't been through. He's been through 2, so Black's not quite good enough to be able to peel afterwards. So
yeah, okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Well, we might see some exciting bombarding.
No, we're not going to see that, I think.
Yes.
It's just, this is the kind of thing where for a top player, they'll look at the odds of finishing, and a lot of it just depends on whether you can do the peel. You can send Black through the hoop
Yes.
after hoop 3 or or much after hoop 3.
Yes.
And if it's just after you run hoop 3, then the odds of finishing are much bigger.
One thing I can guarantee is we're not going to see any sextuples in this match from Reg at all.
Yeah.
He hasn't tried any, and the lawn is playing really quite difficult, and so he's going to stick with the standard simple play.
Yeah.
Hello, Sarah. I hope you've been advertising this match because it's obviously very important for USA Croquet. So it's I hope there are lots of USA people watching this match. We're all thrilled to be here and couldn't think of a better place on the planet to be right now.
Marcus Duquesne has said, "Thanks for your answer. I enjoy watching Reg play. The younger guys go quicker and harder." Well, what can we say to that? Well, it's nice to know that people enjoy this nice, smooth, steady action. Let's see, he's scratching his head here.
Well, he's just going to go for a delayed triple, isn't he? He would.
You say that. This is the kind of thing where it makes a big difference. So, delayed triples and in difficult conditions are much, much harder than standard triples. And he's not done the best thing here, even though yellow's very, very close to the hoop. When in a difficult peeling turn, it makes a huge difference where you send these balls because where you send the escape balls determines how well you can play with the rest of the strokes.
He may try and eke a jawsed ball here. So if he just gently pushes it through, gently pushes the black a little bit further to yeast, he may be able to get something in the jaws with the black.
Yeah, so the difficult thing about these, he doesn't like that
I think
either.
he's pushed it too far. No, he hasn't. No, he can still get that one in the jaws.
No. The thing about these conditions, the hoops are very solid, and the reason why not many peels have been done these courts is because the peels the ball just doesn't stay in the jaws. It tends to bounce out. So, it really makes a difference peeling from here compared to peeling from somewhere else. And this is why Reg hasn't been attempting sextuples, because in easier conditions you line up a peel like this and it's going to jaws or go through.
Well, but it's not just the jaws and the hoops. Is that I'm not sure if there's been much talk about the balls, the Dawson balls we're using, the Humpty Doo balls. And Matthew was saying before the match that he has, he tosses a coin to see how much draw he's going to get on the balls as they come into the hoop. For those that don't understand that, is that when you'll see.
Yeah.
There we go. So red, that may have been the land. It may have been the lack of draw, but it was quite a straight shot he took. But I think that was probably
that was
the
quite
land.
Angled.
That's the land.
That was angled. The problem was that he didn't place the black good enough before the...
Absolutely. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
But he's still in a peelable position.
Yeah, so you expect him to continuing his peeling turn here. But it's, the odds of finishing are not as high, I'd say. Below 90%, I'd say.
For him, no.
No, I think these conditions are difficult. So
I know, yes, but he's I wouldn't say he's up against it, but he's found himself a worthy competitor, and so
yeah. But it's, at this point, it's not about who the competitor is; it's just the odds of finishing this turn. Because when you're doing a triple, it doesn't actually matter who the opponent is, because they're sat in the hut.
But if that was a good picture just back then. I meant to say is you can see the difference in colour on the lawn. That one there, you can see the greens and the browns and the soily patches, and it makes a huge difference to these balls, especially with these Humpty. And that shot there was exceptionally good, because the front ball in the croquet there's a lot of talk about it just not going as far as the standard Dawson balls that we're all used to.
So one of our expert leading players, English leading players, did a few tests on this yesterday. Dave Moore went out and hit a load of balls and actually found. He just tried it under sort of, he just hit loads and loads of balls and just had a bit of a play. And he thinks that there are a couple of key things that might have caused it to be sticky. And he thinks it's when you have brand new balls, that it always has a slight kind of kind of lubricant on the outside,
Yeah.
which makes it more sticky. And he
Yep.
thinks that the milling, the sort of sharper plastic milling of the brand new balls makes a difference. But
Okay.
actually, after a day of knocking it around, it disappears.
Yes.
So
Well, Peter's just asked a question about he won the raffle, and I do know the answer to that, Peter. And Eugene will let you know a little bit more about it, because you have been the proud winner of the book.
the book.
New book. Yep, you won the book.
Yes. So Peter, you're a lucky guy, because I was speaking to your, I think it's your partner. I don't know. I assumed you're a couple. I was speaking to your partner earlier in the week, and she was looking for a copy of the book, and I said, I'm sorry, the books have all gone except one that's going to be raffled off. So in fact, you and perhaps Peter are now the owners of a book that has been signed by half the contributors who contributed to the book.
And,
So well done.
And if you're trying to find out where it is, Brian Cumming has it, and he is the mailman for you.
Right. I don't know, why would you trust Brian with a book like that?
He'll read it on the way back to Canada and see if he can improve his game.
Yeah. Well, great. Well, it's been great having Peter and Brigitte here in this tournament. It's really nice to see players from lots and lots of different nations. I really enjoy the international travelling part of croquet. I enjoy meeting all these new players. Not to say there's nothing wrong with the English ones, even the ones that move overseas. It's just, it's just nice to kind of hear a bit about what their lawns are like, what the croquet culture is like, what got them into croquet. It's great.
And we had a very good dinner last night. I'm not sure, did you come to the dinner last night?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the tournament dinner last night. Excellent food.
Yeah,
Well,
beautiful golf club. Yeah,
we're able to see
great.
the landscape over the top of Melbourne, the central business district, the CBD they call it over here.
CBD, yes, yep. Right, so, wow, it's 3:42, and I guess people normally have a trophy presentation at 5 o'clock, don't they?
Well, this may well move under the lights later on tonight.
Yeah, and it's one of the occupational hazards about croquet. In tough conditions, where people are playing their ultimate best to win. Games just go on. You get long days.
I mean, this is most unusual for Matthew, because he's normally done by midday.
Yeah.
And his worry, I guess, at the moment is we actually have the same flight out tomorrow morning at 10:40.
Yeah.
So we're kind of hoping we're going to be finished by today.
I've actually fallen foul of this very situation. Not a World Championship final, but I was playing some croquet thing in London, and I had a flight to catch at 5 p.m. and the match started at noon, maybe it was 6 p.m. And you know what it's like navigating through London to get there. It's difficult. So anyway, I was with this final, and we were just we were trying our best to kind of get this game finished. It was a game of golf croquet, and it just kept going on and on and on. I definitely had to change my tactics. So I changed my tactics to, instead of clearing the hoop, I was just going for the hoop, because I couldn't afford to miss my flight.
Yes.
There was a flight to Singapore, and if I missed that flight, that was it. So we lost the final, but I made it to Singapore, which is more important.
Eugene, you have a follower. Chris Barley thinks you are ace. Congratulations.
Oh, that's very nice. Chris Barley. Eugene Chang is one of the best commentators both in this event, but the World Golf Croquet. Oh.
Would you like me to read that out again, so our
please,
viewers know that?
Yeah, sorry, I just sort of mumbled a bit there. Just read my own name. That's very nice.
That's not a good. Oh no, it's fine, because he's not trying to peel it now.
No, he's
sorry,
not
he's going back. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's very
Too busy reading about books and Eugene Chang and all that stuff to figure out what was going on.
Yeah. Oh, it's very very kind of you, Chris. Yeah, it's been as a sport, we're always looking for new people to take it up, and new people to fall in love with this game and this sport, in fact. And I think we're now this kind of live streaming is happening. We could really open up the sport to new audiences. I'm really hoping that people are kind of tuning in on Facebook or whatever, and they have no idea what croquet is, and they're looking at this and saying, actually, there's a lot more skill to this than I imagined, and not just that, there's a lot more skill to this, and I want to give it a go. So I don't know how easy is it for people to get into croquet in the USA?
Well,
You have to be
That
rich.
Essentially, you have to be rich in
Right.
America. Yeah, it's one of these problems because the majority, and I don't have a percentage, and it's something. When I say rich, I don't mean rich. It means that the majority of the croquet courts in the United States are behind gated communities,
Hmm.
and in order to be behind a gated community, you're paying HOAs, you're paying membership fee, it goes on and on and on. So it's very tricky for newcomers to come in and start. There really are very few public lawns around the country. Now, Sarah Lowe, who was on a moment ago, she is very instrumental in the United States Croquet Association, and
Hmm.
she may have some actual statistics on that. But generally, it's tough to get going in croquet in the United States.
And is that, I mean, is that because of cost, because of distance, because of getting to clubs? Was it?
It's probably related initially to the cost of actually kind of creating a lawn, a
Right.
croquet lawn in the first place, because, I would say that even the cheapest lawn to make in America is going to be in the region of, at the cheapest, probably 10, 12,000, but you're probably looking at about $20,000 per lawn.
Okay.
Um,
And I understand that the croquet clubs in America are mostly situated in golf resorts rather than being a sort of exclusive croquet club.
Yes.
That's sort of owned
Yeah.
by a
Yeah.
sort of district authority or
Yeah.
something.
hmm
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because in the UK we don't have huge take up, but croquet is a cheap sport to take up. There's a lot of croquet clubs in small towns and cities, and especially where there are retirement people. And we're lucky that lots of croquet players. That's not very good. That was a.
Yeah.
That was,
Now,
we'll see.
we've had a question here from Damon, who's, I'll read it out in case some of you can't read it.
Hmm.
Do you think that young talent has developed significantly due to online content? I would think the answer to that has got to be yes. I mean, when you look at the kind of Oxford website and a bunch of YouTube that is now available, and all these live streams, if you call that online, I suppose you do call it online, but the fact that you can read all this stuff online on your own, that it's got to have made a difference, and it's made those who do play and are interested in it learn things so much quicker.
Okay, interesting. So yeah, I think I think we've struggled to get. So I'll just take a break to actually focus on the game here.
Yeah.
Reg has managed to jaws that peel, so I think he's still in with a chance of finishing this triple. Anyway, so yeah, I think we've online content could be all sorts of stuff. One is that tactics are documented online. One is that videos of good turns are being put online, and one is kind of seeing live stream and seeing their young people and seeing all this kind of stuff. So I think there are multiple answers to Damon's question about online content, and I think certainly if you're young and you want to get into croquet and you're at a club where everyone is 60 years older than you and kind of not hitting it very hard, it's great to be able to see that there are young people out there who are doing the same thing. And it's I think it's all really about creating sort of getting reaching out to other people who are about the same stage as you, same kind of ability, and improving together. Yeah, so Damon says, I would agree that before the cycle to see a MAC was a long time. So, yeah, so the MAC is basically the pinnacle team croquet event in association croquet. Happens once every 4 years. It's 4 years, yeah, 4 years,
Yep.
isn't it? Yeah, and
Yeah.
it rotates between 4 countries. So it's 16 years between a croquet MAC being hosted in one of your countries, if it's the USA or Australia or New Zealand or England. And the problem is that 16 years is actually quite a long time for someone to get into a sport. So if the MAC's taking place a long way away, you can't really watch that kind of top level croquet. And I'm hoping that with all this kind of live stream stuff going on, that we can really make this a reality.
That reality is actually happening in New Zealand, and in New Zealand, and to a certain degree, some of the youngsters in Australia are really kicking it off into action. America has got young Blake Fields, who is one of the younger ones.
Wow, we've got lots and lots of really interesting comments coming in. I feel like we've hit a topic that lots of people care strongly about. So people are talking about, what are they talking about? They're talking about tournament fees, way high, it's a barrier to on top of lack of public lawns. We've got people talking about Oh, go to Canada for healthcare and cheaper croquet. Well, is that what they say? If you live in the USA, go to Canada.
Chris Barley's asking why live stream was used instead of YouTube, and my guess for this is that the YouTube rules have changed in the last year. In that, in order to put this on YouTube, it used to be you have to have I think either 100 or 1,000 follows, and it keeps on going up. And I think for YouTube to be able to stream like this, you now have to have something like 10,000. So it's
So I'll give you a different answer to that,
okay.
Chris. To Chris. Why was live stream used instead of YouTube? And I think that's just because of differences in each country of how they've chosen to do the production of the streaming. So obviously, though some of you might be familiar, I led the live streaming efforts in the UK last year for the golf croquet stuff, and so it was very much a DIY job. We did a lot of stuff ourselves, and I remember I put a post out to get people.
Can we just pan in on 4 back if possible, because we have a rush peel where the ball is. Zoom in on the black ball, please.
Yeah. Oh, our expert camera crew
Not sure if it's
zooming in, so that we
well
can
and
see
truly.
this.
No, it's not. It's just a bit out of the
okay.
jaws, isn't it? So
Could go back.
there we
no,
are.
it's fine.
No
Fine.
problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm probably not doing a great job of commentating on the actual action, but it's really interesting kind of talking about this stuff, and I'm really, really, really happy that everyone's kind of engaging online. So anyway, yeah, we were talking about live stream production. So I think every country's kind of organising body, croquet organising body, is just choosing slightly different ways to go about this. And I think in Australia, here in Melbourne, we're very grateful to the Australian. I believe it's the Australian Sporting Government Grant or something. I don't know the exact name. Who have provided funding for us for My Sport Live, who are a professional sports production company, to come and produce this. And in this case, livestream.com and Vimeo is their broadcast channel of choice, because they can do certain things with it, such as produce this chat. In the UK, we've used YouTube as a platform for streaming. No doubt New Zealand have got Sky Sports involved in their streaming efforts, and they've kind of got Sky Sports Next, which is like a YouTube channel that just covers minority sports. So lots of different things. It'd be interesting to hear what the USCA are thinking about doing if they're streaming, doing a live stream of croquet in the future, which kind of model they go down. I'm very happy to chat to anyone from the USCA if they're thinking about live streaming.
Well, Sarah Lowe, who's on at the moment, is the person you need to contact about that. So she's very much the leader of all of that information. But I do know that Damon as well, who also happens to be on, is very involved with technology in USC.
Okay.
Damon is vice president at the moment, I think, of the USA.
Yeah.
Whereas Sarah is president.
Damon says, Eugene, I have a recent appreciation for 60. I think it's stopped there. Well, I won't complete the sentence because I have no idea where that's going. But yeah, it'd be great. So in fact, at the tournament dinner last night, I was talking to to Stephen Mulliner, who's Secretary General of the World Croquet Federation, and he's very aware of maybe the need to kind of coordinate sort of the different national croquet associations' efforts for live streaming. And we were talking about maybe ways of kind of making equipment available for some associations to kind of adopt a DIY approach. And maybe there's equipment that the WCF could be providing, and the CA could probably provide some kind of expert advice on kind of getting a live stream going. Because one of the great things about this event, the Golf Croquet Worlds, and all the kind of other live stream events like the World Teams, is that it's been lovely seeing all these croquet players pop up the woodwork and kind of get into croquet. And I've had some really nice messages from across the USA from last summer saying that they got up at 3 a.m, set their alarm clocks, and to watch Ben play.
Well, I think one of the great things is, in that case, it was actually on YouTube, and people could turn it on on their kind of 80-inch television screens and watch the thing in their sitting rooms, which nowadays with these smart TVs is just a joy for those who love to follow croquet.
Okay, right. Let's see what else has happened. So Reg is continuing with his break.
He's for two back.
He's for
now.
two back.
Yep.
Okay, thanks for updating the
He-
scoreboard.
He's just getting his his penult peel in and
Yeah, he's going to do that on the way to two
rolling
back.
rolling down to two back with his
Right.
death roll.
Yeah, okay.
I think.
So
So
Sarah says reaching about, yeah, she agrees about people reaching out to people who are interested in croquet but don't have courts ready available. It can be expensive. Yep, that's true. Peter, thank you. Brian, what if the investment used to build the NCC was instead used to build courts all over the US? Would croquet be more accessible in the States? Brian Lozano, is he an American croquet player?
I think he made an earlier comment and he was from somewhere in the northwest. I think, but I'm not sure. I haven't met Brian, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I don't really know anything about the US things, and certainly I think every country probably should have a flagship venue where top class croquet can happen, because as ever. I actually work for the UK government, and one of the things we sort of have to think about in my day role is sort of how to provide funds. So are you funding participation or sort of or sort of elite level stuff? And if you fund elite level stuff, then you inspire people to get to the elite level. And if you fund the grassroots, then you get more people into the sport. So it's always about that kind of balance. Russell Dilly says live stream works quite well in the US. Yes, I agree.
Well, Russell is responsible for rather a lot of YouTube videos. So if you are interested in seeing lots of American YouTube films on croquet in America, then I suggest you tune into Russell Dilly's YouTube channel, and you'll see lots of exciting stuff there.
Yeah, great. Well, Damon's talked about the benefit of live streaming, that remote players can view and see styles of play and follow tactics. I have to say, before I came out here, I watched quite a few of the sort of youth croquet stuff. So New Zealand's got a bunch of youngsters who've put together some really cool videos, and actually our the semi-finalists at this event, Ed Wilson, he and Greg Fletcher, one of the Fletcher brothers, had a series of videos where they did some fun stuff as well, and it was really cool.
I've seen those. Yeah, they're very
it was
good.
really cool watching those and kind of seeing how croquet's being played.
Double jump, triple jump, and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly, and that's one of the huge benefits of having recorded croquet on video format, so that you can just watch back and just see how it's done.
Now, Chris Percival Smith is asking a question that is kind of a highly political topic at the moment, and I'm not sure if I'm